So I just tried to film a bunch of this video and I realized two things. I was completely out of frame and I was completely out of focus. So we're going to do this all over again. This is my Blu Ray Collection video. I've been wanting to do this for a little bit since I was 16 and started collecting Blu Rays, but I never had enough to do so. But now I feel like my collection's grown enough to be able to, concretely make a collection video, and I think I have some good picks in here. But yeah, you're gonna notice a trend that a lot of these movies are some of my favorite movies. I don't really go out of my way to buy movies that I'm not really a fan of, but you are gonna notice some movies that I bought, watched, and then found out I didn't like. And I will point them out when they happen because a lot of them are pretty painful cases. So yeah, let's just get right to it. All right, so at the start of my list, we got 51st Dates, which is a gift from my friend Manny, 1917, which I got in sale at Walmart one time. And this is one of my favorite war movies, and it's also one of the better movies that try to do the one-shot effect. And it's also one of George McKay's most underrated performances. Nightmare on Elm Street, the movie that I used to say was my favorite movie of all time, favorite horror movie of all time. Now, it's still high up there, but Texas Chainsaw and The Exorcist have kind of usurped that. I still really love this movie. A Star is Born, directed and starring Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Great movie, packs a good emotional punch. Both give great performances. Just kind of not a big rewatch movie. I got this as a gift and watched it once. So, not one of my favorites, but I have good memories attached to it. Annihilation, which is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of the past 20 years. It's one of my favorite performances from Natalie Portman, and it's probably Gina Rodriguez's best performance for me, at least. But yeah, really great one. Also, speaking of Jennifer Jason Leigh, I just watched Existenz today. What the fuck are we on right now? Moving on. We have Arrival, which is another one of the best sci-fi movies of the past few years, and it's a movie that I didn't expect to be what it was. And when I found out what it was, I liked it even more than what I was expecting to see. If that makes any sense at all. I could have just been completely speaking a word salad right there. I really love this movie. It's one of Denis Villeneuve's best. Not my favorite of his, but it's still one of his best ones. We got The Apocalypse Now Final Cut box set, exclusive from Target. It's got some cool art and stuff on it. Love this movie. Just watched it for the first time very recently. Amazing, amazing, amazing movie. Never realized how great it was until I watched it, and it's so good. I got an original copy of Avatar with the papyrus font and everything. I love this movie. I love the second one. I don't really know what the hell's up with people who are like, Avatar's fucking awful. That all happens a month after the movies come out, but for that 1 month, everyone's like, Avatar's the shit, man. I just don't know what to gauge everyone's opinions on, but my opinion is I love these movies, and I don't think anyone's gonna change that. It's Pocahontas in space. What the fuck do you want? Next, we have The Batman, one of the best comic book movies ever made. We got Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, which I watched back in 2016, and I really liked it, but I was definitely too young to understand all of the more adult themes. But I still really, really liked it. Enough to, buy it on this really, really nice Blu-ray. But yeah, great movie. I really want to give it a rewatch soon. Next, we got Birds of Prey, which is a big comfort movie for me. I understand it's not the best comic book movie, but for me, and someone who loves Harley Quinn, this is kind of everything that I wanted from a Harley Quinn movie. And, I could take a few more of these if they wanted to make them, maybe. Margot? Hey? Let's get a meeting. Next, I got Blade Runner, The Final Cut. I think this is tied with Alien for being my favorite Ridley Scott film. I can't say for sure. I think I do like Alien more, but I've watched Blade Runner and Alien the same amount of times, and I just think that they're both fantastic, so yeah. Then we got Blade Runner 2049, which is one of Denis Villeneuve's best films as well, and one of the best sequels ever made. It's tragic that this movie didn't get to make its budget back when it came out. I'm really sad that I didn't get to see it when it came out, but when it came out, I had never even seen Blade Runner. This is one of my favorite movies. It's just fantastic. Okay, Booksmart, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Caitlin Dever is a treasure. I kind of discovered her and my love for her through this movie. I also do really love Beanie Feldstein, but I really love the comedy in this movie. It's just so fun. It's one of the most fun movies that I've ever seen. Next, we have Boyhood, directed by Richard Linklater, which was also a gift to me from Manny, and I haven't gotten to watch this yet, but I've heard nothing but fantastic things. Next, we have Call Me By Your Name, which at one point in time I said was my favorite romance movie of all time. I don't really know how I feel about that now, but maybe I just need to give it a rewatch. I haven't seen it in a few years. Still a really good movie, despite the inclusion of a certain person. We have Casino Royale, my favorite James Bond movie of all time. Daniel Craig is the hottest he's ever been in this movie, and actually, no. I take that back. We'll talk about another movie later. Then I have Carrie, which is an original Blu Ray copy, but FYE likes to do this thing where they print out the art and then put it on the cover of the Blu Ray, and then you just look under and it's the Blu Ray. So, I don't know. Still, obviously, masterpiece of a movie. And then we got Django Unchained. Moving on to the next stack, we have Dr. Sleep, one of my favorite horror movies of the past few years, one of the best horror sequels, and probably one of the best Stephen King adaptations out there. It's really compelling. The acting is all fantastic. The cinematography is beautiful. The editing is literally perfect. And all the performances are... I know I said that already, but wow, Jesus. Then we have Dunkirk, which is not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, but it's still a very entertaining one. I really like the nonlinear structure. I think that the cast is great, and obviously the movie looks and sounds beautiful. I just couldn't really get into the plot, even though I obviously know it's based on a real event. I'm not stupid, but it's just a movie that was compelling enough at the right moments, but overall it just didn't have me hooked the whole time. It's a very forgettable movie to me, at least. But I still would give it a B+, just based on quality. But it's not my favorite war movie. It's not my favorite modern war movie, but I still really like it. Ghost in the Shell. This is probably my favorite non-Studio Ghibli anime film. Motoko Kusanagi is one of my favorite characters of all time, and it's just a really great movie about what life would be like with the inclusion of artificial intelligent humans. Great time. Not really. It's really depressing. Easy A, another one of my movies that I haven't seen yet, but I really want to. I love Emma Stone, and I've just been kind of waiting for the right moment. And we have E.T. I used to say that this was my favorite movie of all time, but another Spielberg kind of just usurped that based on logistics. So it's still a fantastic movie. It's up there with one of my favorite Spielbergs, but not my favorite. Still one of my favorite movies, though. Then we have Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is one of my more rewatched Blu-rays. I've showed this to a few friends. Obviously, bona fide modern classic at this point. We got The Exorcist, which includes the extended director's cut. I'm not a huge fan of the way that this transfer looks, or the scan, but obviously it's The Exorcist. It's a great movie. Just wish it was a better scan. The Fault in Our Stars, which is a movie that I don't know how to feel about anymore, because I love the book. The book is still fantastic. But I just feel like the movie tries a little too hard, and I think it's just a little too perfect. And I think that that is a fault for it. I think it just doesn't take any risks. Forrest Gump, which I've only seen one time, but I really want to actually give this a rewatch because I haven't seen it in so long, and that one time I watched it, it did leave a very big impression. I just want to know if I remember everything that I think I do about this movie, but not one that I gravitate towards when I'm just looking for a movie to watch. And we have Get Out, which is probably the movie that I had to watch the most in film school. You would think that it'd be like Citizen Kane or The Godfather or something, but nope. It's actually this bad boy right here. It was tied between this and Lady Bird, actually. I had to watch this for, I think, 4 classes in one semester, which is nuts, but it's still a really great movie. I'm not going to turn down a chance to watch this movie. Then we have Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, which is my favorite David Fincher movie. Weird, shocking, I know. I just really, really love Rooney Mara and Daniel. Rooney Mara and Daniel Craig's performances in this. I also really love the cinematography and the really, really tense editing. And it's one of the more intriguing intriguing mystery films that I've seen, and it has an ending that I feel is just ambiguous while satisfying enough to leave me intrigued for the potential future of the franchise, which never ended up happening. I understand that. But it also still gives me a good sense of finality for just this one story. I understand that obviously other David Fincher films are like genuinely better, but this is the one I've rewatched the most. It's the one that I feel the most connection with. And I just, this edition is beautiful. It's this really cool one that has like all this artwork, or not artwork, but portraits on the outside, which I really like. I got this for $5. Can you believe that? I got this for $5. Nuts. But yeah, one of my favorite movies of all time. My favorite David Fincher movie. Maybe as I grow up and become a little less immature, maybe I'll like this movie a little bit less. But I just feel like, I don't know, I love Lisbeth as a character. She's so addicting to watch, and I just can't understate like how the movie looks, and it's just so crisp, but not in an artificial way, in a very handmade way. It's a very painterly movie. Another painterly movie I would say is The Green Knight, directed by David Lowery, which is one of the most underrated movies that's come out in the past 10-15 years. Probably Dev Patel's best performance, and it's probably the best looking movie of the year this came out. What year did this come out? 2021. Okay, so yeah, by far. Oh my god. Yeah, I think that this is the best looking movie of 2021. If I'm blanking and I'm thinking about, and there's like some visual masterpiece that like changed the perspectives of cinema that came out in 2021, like tell me, because I can't remember what it would be, but this is just one of my favorite fantasy films, and it's a movie that I can rewatch over and over and over again. And I actually convinced one of my professors at school to show this to a class, and that was one of my favorite achievements. Next up, we have Gretel and Hansel. This is the first of one of my Blu Rays that I actually bought and watched and found out that I didn't like after buying it, and I regret buying it a little bit because I've never ever once thought about watching this movie again, which sucks because it's from Oz Perkins and I loved Longlegs. So we got Hacksaw Ridge, which is another one of my favorite war films, but we don't need to tell Mel Gibson that because we don't need to make his dick bigger. Then we have Hereditary, which if you watch my horror movie video, this is in my top 5 or top 10 horror movies of all time. It's probably the best A24 movie. Don't come for me. I know Everything Everywhere All at Once. I get it. Get out of the comments. Then we have The Incredibles, which is probably one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time. It's up there, probably top 3, along with like Ratatouille. Actually, yeah, I think it's Ratatouille than this. Then we have Inception, a great Christopher Nolan movie. It's a classic at this point. The top falls. It falls. Watch the end. Like, no top is just gonna wobble and not fall. Right? Next, I have this really cool steelbook of Interstellar, which actually on the inside includes a little film cell from an IMAX print of the movie, which is really, really cool. On to the next stack. Okay, starting off the next stack, we got The Invisible Man, directed by Leigh Whannell. Elizabeth Moss, great performance, and a really creative version of a Universal horror film. I actually didn't expect this type of movie when this movie was announced, and when I saw all the marketing and everything, I became really, really excited, and the movie actually really paid off. We got It and It Chapter 2, both directed by Andy Muschietti. Great movies, both of them. The first one's definitely better than the second one, but I do really like the second one. Makes me cry every single time. Then we got Jaws, which is not one of my favorite Spielbergs, but it's still a really great movie, obviously. Jojo Rabbit, which is another one of my movies that I haven't seen yet. I did buy this kind of just on a whim because I saw how much people were liking it, and I'm really excited to give it a watch. I've heard nothing but great things. Joker. I don't want to talk about it. Joaquin, you have a lot to answer for right now. Just letting you know. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I also really don't want to talk about it. Knives Out, which is one of the new modern classics, I would say. At this point, I would think that Knives Out is considered a classic. It's one of the best murder mystery movies that's come out since the 70s. Yeah, like, honestly. This next one is one of my prized possessions, and it's something I'm very proud of owning, and it is the Second Sight Pictures release of Lake Mungo, which is the first Blu-ray release of Lake Mungo. Lake Mungo being probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. It's not jump and go boo type of scary. It's more of a, I'm going to haunt you for the rest of your life with grief and sadness type of scary. It's a fantastic fake documentary. This transfer is gorgeous, and all of the interviews and commentary tracks are so unbelievably insightful. And it comes with a little book on the inside, which has a ton of stuff about the making of the movie. But yeah, this movie it's a perfect movie. I'm willing to go to bat to say that Lake Mungo is a perfect movie. Next, we have The Lighthouse, probably the best Robert Eggers film so far. I'm excited for Nosferatu. That movie's going to be great. Then we have Little Women, Greta Gerwig's Little Women, comfort movie for me. One of my favorite Saoirse Ronan performances. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. I wish that I had the 4Ks. You have no idea, but I'm going to have to settle for this little bad boy. But still really love these movies. Mad Max Fury Road, which is another one of my favorite comfort movies and one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just a non-stop adrenaline shot, and I love it so much. It's one of the best warm comfort blanket movies. I just put it on whenever I'm having a bad day, and it just instantly makes it so much better. Another movie I haven't seen, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, which is I got this in an Easter basket. I got the Matrix trilogy all in one collection. I would like to own them separately, but I also don't really want to own separate copies of Revolutions and Reloaded. But still, I'm still willing to own them. And we have Midsummer, which is the inferior Ari Aster film, but it's still better than Beau is Afraid, in my opinion. And it's Florence Pugh's best performance, like, to date. It's, like, hands down her best performance. I don't think that anything is going to be able to top it, honestly, with this one. She's just so raw and distinguished in this movie. And then lastly, for the stack, we have Misery, which is another movie that I haven't seen yet, which is so weird because I've had opportunities to watch this so many times, and I just haven't. I don't know why. I think it's just Kathy Bates really fucking scares me. I don't know what it is about her, but I just find her very intimidating. Starting off the next stack, we got Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. Maybe my favorite Jordan Peele. Don't tell anyone. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, one of Quentin Tarantino's better films. Not his best, but I still really love this movie. It's probably one of the ones that I've rewatched the most. Parasite, another modern classic at this point. Pearl, not really a modern classic at this point, but it's a modern version of a classic film. Princess Bride, another victim of the FYE printed cover art. They just keep stealing it all from the Criterion Collection, which is so annoying. But yeah, love this movie. Promising Young Woman, my favorite movie of 2020, I believe. A lot of people didn't really like it. I really like it. Sorry, not sorry. Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock, Psycho. Great movie. Pulp Fiction. I know, it's Pulp Fiction. I'm a dude. I have a penis, and I own Pulp Fiction. Fuck off. Resident Evil. Why do I own this? Damn. Rocky Horror Picture Show. The 45-year anniversary edition. I love this movie. The first time I ever saw this movie was actually at a Shadowcast at a drive-in during COVID. And I think that that's an amazing way to watch this for the first time. Are you kidding me? Then we got T2. It's tied for my favorite James Cameron movie. This is probably the movie that made me go like, okay, action movies can like make you feel things rather than just like being big explosions and stuff. Like, yes, obviously this is a James Cameron movie. There's going to be big explosions and guns and stuff, but it's one of the first action movies that like made me feel genuine emotion while I was watching it. And I didn't expect a Terminator movie to do that. Saint Maud, Rose Glass's directorial debut. Great A24 horror film. One of the more divisive horror films of that year, but I obviously liked it enough to own it. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, an adaptation of a book that used to scare the living shit out of me when I was a kid, and the movie did a pretty good job at still creeping me out. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, directed by Edgar Wright. One of the other modern classics of this time, I would say. It's becoming a very divisive film for good reason, but I would still say that it's just a fantastically made movie. The Shining, a great horror film. A lot of people say this is the scariest movie of all time. I don't really agree, but it's still one of the best horror movies. The Silence of the Lambs, which I have had a very interesting experience with. I watched this movie for the first time when I was, I want to say, like 13, and I wasn't really a big fan of it. I just thought it was really boring. And I watched it again really recently, and this movie is creepy as fuck. I didn't realize how genuinely creepy this movie is. And I don't know what 13-year-old me was doing. This movie's frightening. It's got a lot of really intense sequences, and all the acting is just top notch. The Suicide Squad, a very underrated comic book movie. I mean, not underrated, but overlooked. Didn't really do that well, but in hindsight, it's probably the best. Hello? It's probably the best of the DCEU, in my opinion. I'm not really that big on Wonder Woman. Sorry, guys. We have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Next up, we have The Witch, which is a great movie. It's one of the better period horror films of the past few years. Jordan Peele's Us. Not my favorite Jordan Peele, but still a really great movie. Probably my favorite Lupita Nyong'o performance. And lastly, we have John Carpenter's The Thing, which is brilliant film. Brilliant film. No real problems. Nothing new to say about it. Great movie. Now that we're done with all the Blu-rays, let's move on to my DVDs and my box sets. For my DVDs, I have It's a Wonderful Life, Iron Man, The Iron Giant, The Hunt, and 8 Mile. Out of all of these, I have only seen The Hunt and Iron Man. But yeah, I need to see It's a Wonderful Life and 8 Mile. And now for my box sets, which I am very proud of. So just going off the top right here, I have the Spider-Man trilogy, Sam Raimi's classic. I got the Jurassic Park original trilogy in this really cool VHS style case. Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. We got the Harry Potter 8 film collection. I love Harry Potter. I do not stand with J.K. Rowling, but I do still love Harry Potter. We got the Dark Knight trilogy on 4K, which is one of the best trilogies of all time, obviously. We got the Bourne trilogy box set, which is a franchise that I didn't discover until... which is a trilogy that I didn't discover until a lot later in life, but I still really liked them. Then we have Avatar, the complete series on Blu-ray, which I got for free recently from my friend Josh. Thank you, Josh. Then we have the Alien box set, which includes Aliens. I'm trying to film a video. We have the Alien box set, which includes Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, and Alien Covenant. One of my favorite franchises. If you watched my last video, you would know that. I'm trying to film a video. Last but not least, we couldn't not end out on the classic, the one, the only, the Godfather collection, which I also just got from my friend Josh recently. And that's it. It is now about 1,000,000 degrees in this room. You can see that I am dripping sweat. I am sweating so much that my crown is probably showing. If you guys want me to do another one of these in the future when my collection grows, I probably will. But thanks a lot for giving this a watch, if you watch through the whole thing. But yeah, let me know what Blu-rays you think I need immediately. I have a lot on my Christmas list this year. Lots of Criterions this year. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jake. I'm gonna put a hole through my laptop, and I'll see you, Space Cowboy. Sorry for the change in audio, but I thought you should see the state that I'm in, just soaking up. It's never gonna end. I just wanted to make a joke. What is happening?